Recently, I've been playing this game called Celeste, and it got me thinking, could the protagonist from Hollow Knight conquer all of Celeste on his own? In this video, we'll see if he uses his abilities to tackle every single chapter of Celeste. Let's see what happens. Also, if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. Before we begin, we need to go over some rules before we start. First of all, the Knight and Madeline both have the ability to jump and wall climb. Also, the Knight will be starting off with base everything, so base attacks, base movements. So you only have access to normal dash, not cloak dash. He will be access to also wings, so he will be able to double jump. So throughout all of chapter 1, he should be able to clear most of it. I do want to go over for 2 mechanics. One of them was this green crystal. This refreshes your dash originally, so we'll do the same thing here. Another mechanic is these blocks that build up momentum when you hold on to them. If the Knight wants to hold on to any type of object, all he has to do is hold down the crystal heart button. With that, he's able to hold on to any type of object or wall. With that, should be an easy completion. For chapter 2, we get discovered these weird block things which we will have to avoid for now. After a little bit more parkour, like I would like to explain, the crystals will help him regain his double jump. Afterwards, he will pass through pretty easily until he encounters this mirror. In this mirror, instead of finding his evil version, he will find the shade version of him. So his shade will be following him all around, just like Madeline had with her goth version of herself. Once the Knight escapes, he will easily just go to the phone booth and call, I don't know, his sister Hornet, I guess. Shaw! Well, there's a little bit of a problem here. You see, there's something I kind of went over without telling you. In chapter 2, you get introduced to a new mechanic, which with your dash, you're able to go through these types of blocks. After clearing a few things, there's this area you need to go to progress through the chapter. For this, the Knight could easily just pogo on these spikes and double jump. But then we made it to this part. You see, this whole block area is gonna block out the whole way, and without the Knight having the same powers or capabilities as Madeline, the Knight is incapable of passing through these blocks. So it's officially over. He can't beat chapter 2. Wait, what? So about that, apparently chapter 2 was Zoe and Madeline's head, and I don't know if you know this, but the Knight is a vessel. He has 0 human motion and 0 choice. So he has literally no ability to have dreams or desires. So it's literally impossible for him to go through this situation. Shaw! After climbing the mountain for a bit, the Knight will find this random hotel that's abandoned and meet a guy named Mr. Aroshu. For there, he will be forced to having to stay there in that hotel and help out going through parkour. We get introduced to a new mechanic, which is this weird red-black thing, which is another obstacle which he could easily dodge and avoid. I previously mentioned how these green crystals will refresh his dash meter, but it also refreshes his double jump meter. So every time he double jumps, he will just be able to double jump again midair. Then he gets stuck in this heap mess, which he's forced to having to help Mr. Aroshu for no apparent reason. Through here, you could probably imagine how the parkour will go for him, using double jump, crystal heart, and wall jumping through various obstacles. Honestly, I don't think the Knight will have any problems with clearing this all on his own. I feel like he has the abilities to go through the whole mansion. Well, it's not a mansion, it's a hotel. Once here, either the Knight will break a hole for himself to leave in, or his shade will open up the gap for him to leave, which then Mr. Aroshu will get a little bit mad. I guess it's time for a boss. Mr. Aroshu does not stand a chance against the Knight. Keep in mind, the Knight has faced many different bosses with higher levels of difficulty. But for the sake of this challenge, let's just say he's forced to having to run. In this case, the Knight is pretty capable of going through and parkouring through all of the obstacles. A mechanic I didn't mention at all is just the jump pads, but they're pretty simple and he could easily just jump on them. After they have their encounter, Mr. Aroshu will go back to the hotel and leave the Knight alone. Where we get introduced to 2 new mechanics. One of the mechanics is a bubble. This bubble is basically a dash, but with shorter duration. After skipping through the granny, there's this section where you have to break through blocks, which the Knight could easily do with his nail. Besides just the win, everything else throughout the whole chapter should be fairly doable for the Knight. He won't have any difficulties except with maybe the cube. He can't necessarily crouch, but he could do a Desaline dive in order to lower the block. So for the sake of this, he's only able to lower blocks, not raise them, which might be a problem, but he's able to reach up most gaps that require him to go vertically. But besides that, the whole level, he's able to do fairly reasonably, in my opinion, since he has done things like, I don't know, Path of Pain. So, finally, at the end of the level, he meets this new character who has feather falling, apparently. Theo and the knight both go on the gondola, and as they go on their ride, the knight can't help but listen to Theo's story. I know what you're thinking. Sleepy, why would the knight want to save someone like Theo? They barely had any interactions, unlike Madeline, who they both had like a friendship between them. Also, he's a vessel, zero human emotion. And with that, I'd like to bring your attention to this. In Hollow Knight, there has been many instances where the knight actually saved people from hollowness. So if he does that without having any desire to rescue people, I feel like with logic, he will save Theo too. And if not, then, in the game, he's forced to being teleported to that new world. There's two new mechanics. One is the blocks, where if he dashes, the blocks move. Another one is the red bubble, which is pretty similar to the previous chapter with the blue bubble, except this one has longer duration, which should work the same way with similar mechanics. I like how he could cheese most of it with using just Crystal Heart if he wanted to. Once the knight gets teleported to this alternate world, he will encounter his shade, which won't be too exciting to be honest, since he doesn't speak to it or anything. Later in the level, we will encounter this type of enemy, which, let's just say, he could easily pack up. Like honestly, he could use shade, he could use vengeful sphere, he could use any type of ability to easily take out the enemy. Eventually, the knight will find Theo, and with his insane strength, he will be able to break the crystal easily. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video. In real life, I was planning on making it all 7 chapters, but I wasn't able to since right now I'm studying for finals. But I would like to read a quick Bible verse. Today's Bible verse is Psalms 46:1. God is our refuge and our strength.